Well, you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. P, and I want to welcome you to the one show that, as I always say, lights up your Wednesday night. Now, tonight we want to help the ladies out there. And the question we're asking is, how do you know that he is ready to commit? As we talked about last week, do you let him sample the goods until he's sure he wants to keep them for real? Or are there a couple of things that you can do, according to Chris, as a precursor to make sure he is ready? Now, with us on the show, we've got a lady who's not a visitor. Esther, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
To be here.
Yes. And I need to hear from you, just quickly. Do you have any
know?
idea on what a guy who's ready to commit looks like?
Honestly, I feel like that varies from person to person. Mm-hmm. But I'll give you a reality, what is happening in a lot of relationships today. Well, I guess from people that I know. Mm-hmm. You know what happens now?
Party, huh? Okay.
People that I know,
right.
tell me.
Yeah.
People that I know. But yes, this is what's happening now. Like, men are not always ready to commit. Mm-hmm. So you know what happens? You see each other for a bit. Next thing you know what the girls do? She moves herself in. Next thing you know, she's bought 1 toothbrush, 2 t-shirts, 3, a pair of jeans. Next thing you know, in 6 months, you are living together. She is hosting your guests. You are now attached. Next thing you know, you're having a baby. And guess what? Now it's time to get married. So how do you know that this guy is ready to commit?
Chris, are you taking notes?
Honestly, I work on the radio, so I listen. I hear this question so often, so very often, because it confuses a lot of people. You all are not very good with this communication thing. So how do you know? I feel like you do not know until this person is vocal about it. Once they start to refer to a we are going to do this, or let us do this, let us go get into this, or let us move into this business together, or let us, once they start to refer to you as a we, as you're now a unit, you're not just, he's not saying, oh, let me go to my home, like, you go to do this, let me go to do this. So yeah, that's what I think.
You've just given Stefan a pickup line.
Peter. And you know, that's the number one problem with women, assuming. You know, you've seen the way she's explained we. You know, you started well. You say that, when a guy is, is verbal, and, when a guy says that, I thought you'd say something in the lines of, I will marry you. Women have a problem of assuming. I've bought you stuff. I visit you on a regular basis. I take you to Dubai. I bought you a wig or something.
Are you supposed to date for 6 years and then you wait for him to say we are getting married, and then that's when you know you're together?
To be fair, if a guy buys you a Brazilian wig, you better be sure he's going to marry you.
36 million.
Yes. If you buy this hair, I know we're together.
Bruh, that guy is going to give you a child.
Yeah.
It's true, because it's like
give you a child or marry you. What are we talking about here?
Well,
as an offshoot from last week, I mean, I think
he's going to marry you.
Yeah, she said something very interesting. And what I picked from your opening remarks is that guys are not good at committing. So the ladies take it upon themselves to basically box the guy.
To drive the relationship
But
forward.
why? Maybe we should ask the pastor.
Amen.
Why are men? No. Okay, and here's the context maybe that I need to say. When I think a decade or 2 ago, it was prestigious for a man to grow up, leave his parents' house. Sort of, there was a society expectation for people to be desirous of marriage. That expectation seems to have waned, and both the society expecting you and the desire of young men to sort of go into their own and marry and do what has also certainly depreciated. And so maybe the conversation could be around the changing. Why are guys happy going into their 40s, living on their own, having a girlfriend for 10 years? You're dating for 10 years, but you don't want to make it official, or just having several girlfriends, and sort of going into your late 40s. Why is that okay?
Let me just bust our bubble here for a bit and say this. Guys have always been scared of commitment.
It's nothing new.
It's nothing new. In Genesis, as early as possible in the Bible, God put this. He said, a man shall leave his mother and father and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. They never wrote about a woman leave her father and mother because they do that quick. It's the guy. The problem is with the guy leaving and committing. You know why? It's because, man, the whole house is going to be on you. Food, rent, nappies, diapers, school fees, that chick's hair, her dresses, so a guy thinks about all that stuff he needs to take care of, and he's like, oh my goodness, I'm not doing it. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. So men have been scared of commitment from Adam.
So are you
just
saying
to say
it's women who scare men into commitment?
No,
commitment.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Because you see, a man growing up from boys to men, the thing is really that, are you ready to face the responsibility that it takes for you to actually be a man, a husband, and a father, and a grandfather?
But hold on, Chris, are you then saying that men naturally run away from responsibility?
Rather not. It's not. We don't say run away.
Would
But
rather.
I would rather.
You'd rather.
I'd rather not.
You'd rather not.
Yeah, you'd rather have the
For
kids,
most cases, it's a case of
you-
I'd rather
If
not.
you can get away
Yeah.
with it, they will, and that's what always happens. If they can get away with dating you for 12 years, 20 years,
It's all
they
good.
will do it.
So the chick has to box him into the
and
corner.
that's why you find girls telling their guy, excuse me, my parents are going to kill me and kill you if you do not come. Most of the time, her parents have probably not said anything. She
Yeah.
just knows that that's going to be the only way that she's going to get him to commit.
So 100 or 1,000 tricks to get the guy over the line is the book that girls are trying to read from. Because the thing is, guys are just running. They just.
Yeah. Peter, the question was, how do women know when a guy is ready to commit?
Yeah.
Me, I have a problem with with ladies. You're living with this guy. He basically, he's looking for a job. He's been sketching for a job for the longest time. You've gotten 1 kid, 2 kids. But yeah, it happens. But you're
waiting
still
for commitment.
But you're still imposing. You still, pushing that question. When are you going to marry me? How do you know a guy is ready? And there are small things that you can see. When a guy does not have his finances in check, why would you, push
Put him under
for
pressure,
marriage?
yeah.
That's how you find yourself. 3 kids down, a broke guy who is now you're now supporting, and you cannot break that chain.
3 kids. Why are you having 3 kids if you're not financially stable, man?
People who have no money shouldn't
Should
even
not
be
be
allowed to have
Can I give you a personal
Thank
story?
you.
Very personal story.
But however, do you know the reality is, the wealthier people are, the fewer children they have.
That's not an economic discussion.
There's things
it's a biological discussion.
Yes. So it's the same. So that exactly. So do you think that guy who's getting those kids doesn't know he's not supposed to have all those kids?
But then
It's all he can do.
maybe the wife,
He-
maybe,
he has to vent his
maybe
frustration.
his chick is having
the
But that
reality
is not
is,
a
motivate
solution.
him.
Maybe.
Women are so counterintuitive. Sometimes
To
Because
motivate
since you're not marrying me, let me just have 5 kids and let's see where you go.
let's see. Where are you going to run away from all these kids?
Until you find a totally irresponsible guy who
just
And
asks
he will
and
still
gone.
leave you with those 5 kids.
What do you call it, Stefan? Ghosting.
Ghost.
There you go.
I'm surprised.
It's learning.
Unfortunately, what I'm picking is that men just generally do not commit. So in other words, they have to be cornered. They have to be cornered
Men are not
into
animals.
commitment.
No, they're not animals.
Peter,
No.
But he's just saying it. He said they have to be herded into a corner.
The problem is that Chris speaks in absolute, and it's very confusing for most of us mortals. So people think that because he said it, it's the law, or it applies to all men. It
Colin,
applies.
I think I've been misquoted. Here's what I said. Let me just allow me an opportunity to repeat myself. Basically, commitment and guys is something that
It's foreign.
it's you know, like when it's light poles and you're trying to get magnets together. There's a general disposition. Generally, most guys would rather not. I'll tell you what I think. Really, could be wrong, but this is what I think. I think that most things that are written, say for example in the Bible, as direct instructions to girls, to ladies, or to guys, are things that you'd rather not do. I'll give you an example. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church, to the point of death. Most guys would rather not die for a chick. Okay, so that's why the Bible puts it there.
Peter, why are you laughing?
Wives, no, listen to this
For you
other
to
one.
imagine.
Yeah, listen to this other one. Wives, submit to your husbands. Yeah,
No.
even as Christ is submitted to God the Father. And the guy is a nutcase. You see him taking you into a trench, and the Bible says submit. Like we're submitting into that trench.
Yeah.
Most women would rather not. So here's what I'm saying. There's generally a tendency for guys to be like that when it comes to commitment, and therefore need to be nudged, convinced, helped to, help
Like
to,
sheep.
So back in the day when young men were being raised and all that, so you had this group of men who tell you, hey man, dude, you're now a man. It's time to take on some responsibility. And it was kind of like celebrated for you to cross that chicken line and commit and
your
start a family
goes
of
and
your
finds
own.
you a wife, you know.
Right? But now,
Singlehood
most
is
guys,
celebrated.
most guys are bundling up in some bar, some corner, some church. Listen, I'm saying even some church, right? And they're keeping their alcoholic huddle or their beer huddle, whichever huddle they're keeping, right?
Yeah.
And running away from responsibility. You have guys saying, what did we call it? Test driving. The guy wants to have all the benefits with no commitment.
But then now, in that
That's our problem.
In that case, then can we blame the ladies? And I'll need you to tell us why. Because you see, back in the day, you talked about back in the day when, I mean, what were the responsibilities? This lady would come, she was going to dig for you, she was going to take care of the home for you, she was going to cook for you. She wouldn't want Brazilian hair. What? How much? So as a man,
cuts her hair.
yes.
She gets a Janet haircut.
I don't understand that.
So I
Why
mean,
do they cut their hair after?
See, Stefan is telling you,
I
no,
know, that
it's
was
not
like,
acceptable, man.
it's like you dug into something.
so moving on from the haircut, okay.
Guys, watch that hair thing,
That's what I'm saying. Moving on from the haircut.
please.
Keep on with the hair.
Yes. So is it then women who make men scared of commitment?
Absolutely not. I don't think so. It's
Responsibility. Clearly, it's all coming from the woman side, according to Chris.
But you know, responsibility is not just, especially now in this
But
day and
Peter, you
age.
just threw some words into my mouth. It's not all coming from the woman's side, but let her carry on.
Responsibility is not buying your woman a Brazilian weave or buying her new shoes
What is
every week.
responsibility?
Responsibility is taking care of your children, and in it's 2018. People don't really have that excuse anymore. Women are working, women are contributing to take care of their families. So really, if you find somebody that you're compatible with, and you know that this person me and her could share our responsibilities, we could start a family and do everything together, but still the guy will be afraid to commit. Doesn't matter. So I really don't. Well,
So what is scaring him?
what is scaring them? You tell me.
I think that certain parents are sleeping on the job and they're raising pansies. People, I can't even believe we're here saying that the level of responsibility has reduced, or people have always been responsible. In a tribal setting, men knew their place in the society. They were aware that they needed to hunt, that they needed to protect the village, and they needed to procreate. There was other things they needed to do, but the primal job was to protect and to provide. So they would go out and get the
So
food.
nothing has changed.
But you know,
No, wait.
Colin,
I'm just sort of setting the scene. The scene. That was the principle. And boys went through a rite of passage. They were eager. At 13, they were dying to get circumcised, to go out and kill the lion.
they were gearing up for something,
and
right?
find their place in life. I think what has happened is because a generation of our parents went through a very difficult time in the 70s. They vowed that they would work hard and create a soft landing for their children. But the danger with that is that without the adversity, there is no iron to sharpen the iron in the boys. So you have people who are in their 30s now who've never faced any adversity. Yes, they work hard. Yes, they're smart. But they don't have the aggression, the killer instinct, the things that would make them tap into the need for responsibility. Because there is dignity and there's happiness and fulfillment in being responsible, in taking care of stuff. Now you want guys who just want to drink every day of the week.
Which I believe women also find attractive. We'll get back to you straight after the break. Now we're here at the Pearl of Africa Hotel talking about why men...
My point will have disappeared.
From commitment. So stay committed to your point and we'll be right back after the break.
He did it.
Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, we're here at the Pearl of Africa Hotel talking about men and commitment. Why is it such a challenge? Especially the younger men should be the ones to tell us. Now, we want to hear from you. This is your show. Go to our Facebook page, like it. Also, you can follow us on Twitter. The hashtag is NTVMEN. Our individual tags are right there on below your screen. So you were telling us.
I'm saying this, Colin put it so beautifully, the guy back in the day had something,
Killer instinct. Huh?
Killer instinct. He was gearing up for something, 21st century, things have changed, and we cannot blame our parents. We live in an era where women are making twice as much as men. How do you blame that guy,
Already she set the bar. The bar has been set.
She has what I call a comparative advantage, to me, whether she's a woman,
But
and
what
then,
she earns should not take away from you and your responsibility.
I think we need, to a certain extent, to redefine, like we have said in different shows, the role of men in the 21st century.
The role doesn't change.
The role has changed, whether you like it or not. It has changed.
Men are charged. They are charged, and that is in every religious text, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, even Buddhism, every major religion.
And that's why I have a problem with religion. Let me tell you.
Wait. Even don't go to religion. Go to atheist society. The man will lead the structure.
Now listen, a guy's responsibility was to hunt and gather. That was
survival.
Yeah, that was survival.
Yes.
A guy in 21st century cannot do that because the woman is doing it. So how do you explain that?
So because I'm making money.
Yeah, what is money? Money is power.
That means that you cannot.
Let me,
Stefan, if I make more money than you, that does not mean that you cannot be
you will blame guys.
The head of our household or the more responsible male.
Laziness of
no, it is not laziness. You guys are not real.
You're not
real.
Your woman making money is not a deterrent to you taking
to you
care
and your
of
responsibility.
Stuff. Because remember that aggression, that spirit to lead, that responsibility, that's an attitude thing. It's a character thing. It's not a resource thing.
However, okay, but guys, before we throw a whole ton of bricks on Stefan, can we honestly say that they're not a group of men who are intimidated, for lack of a better term, or by women who are actually who have means?
Powerful and successful.
So can I just say something, guys? I would like us to get out of this great hotel in our minds and go to the streets of Kampala, go to the streets of Mbale, Lira, Arua, Gulu, Mbarara, Kisoro. And tell me, how many of these powerful women are actually on the streets? The ones who earn double the salary that the husbands earn. The ones who are totally intimidating and stuff like that. Right?
So you're saying they don't exist?
I'm not saying
they
many.
Do.
Listen to my question.
But
tell me
what is
how
the percentage
many
of women who actually make
tell me
more
how many
money
of
than
these
their
women
partners?
are there? It's not that many, okay? But we are hiding behind the curtain of some successful women and trying to say that that's the reason for guys being irresponsible and not committing. I think that's lame. That's very lame. So here's the thing. We just need to agree that whether the woman earns more money or not, there is a thing that every man needs to decide to cross the line and say, you know what, I'm going to bite this bullet, I'm going to commit and marry this woman. I'm going to start a family. Because I can tell you, it really takes biting a bullet.
Let me ask you something, Chris.
It doesn't matter what the economics
What entails marrying a woman?
You tell me, what do you think?
No, you're the one who's saying that resources
The
are
officially
nothing.
recognized ways to marry a woman are to go and do it at the registry. You can have a customary wedding. You can
Come
have a church.
on,
No,
you-
don't
call it.
I mean, so how do you want us to answer it?
This is how the Constitution recognizes marriage. Yes, you can have a customary wedding. You can have a church wedding, or you can have an official civil
Yeah.
marriage.
And in all cases, you end up with this woman in your house and you are responsible for her. That is the magic. Boss.
This guy is living a bubble. Honestly.
In what bubble, Stefan?
I'll tell you what I'm reading from what Stefan is saying is realistically, all right, there is a challenge, and the only whether you want to call it responsibility or not, but men have there's something that holds men back, especially where commitment is concerned, to the extent that could be the fact that there's no more social support, because before people would go as a group. You mentioned it. I have my peers, I've got my age group. When we're getting married, we're all getting married, okay, and it's going to happen whether I like it or not. That's the system.
Because if we don't get married, then all of us will sit and laugh at Chris.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know, there's social pressure.
Yeah.
Like I don't want, because people won't even allow you to sit
which
at
is
the
not
village
there.
meeting.
Exactly, which is not there anymore.
So people can just come and sit at the meeting. They are useless. They're just out there giving ideas. They're not supporting
but being
anyone.
married and being useless. I mean, you can't say if you're unmarried, you're useless.
Some people just choose not to marry, and that's okay.
No,
Yeah, and also then it goes to what you're saying. If you've not found the right partner, then why should you be
So guys,
forced into
you know,
it?
let's just remember, we're asking ourselves a question: how do we know that the guy is ready to commit? Isn't that the big question?
Yes.
So first of all, we've established, even if Stefano is confusing us, that that guy is dark from commitment. I mean, that's what is happening in our society, whatever the reasons are. Now, how do we know in this hideous state that a guy is putting his head up and risking to commit?
Let me take the bullet.
Let me take the bullet. Isn't that the question we're asking?
Yes.
Exactly.
Right? I think that we need to look at the things that men value the most and find out, because if there is something that's important to a man and he starts exchanging that or bringing a woman into that conversation of an area where it's valued for him, then he's beginning to make the steps.
What if it's football?
Yes.
I'm
Even
saying whatever it may be.
No.
If he can buy you a man, if he's
he
a
buys
Man U
his
supporter,
supporter.
and then he buys a T-shirt that is branded with his name at the
And
back,
he buys
you
yours
buys
is
for
at the
you.
back, it's beginning to look like you're moving in the same direction. What the point is that for most men, whatever it is that he values the most,
He would
if
put
he
out
starts
there.
bringing a woman into that conversation and into that space, then he is beginning to make the journey toward committing to her.
Yeah.
But do not be deceived. I don't care how smoothly he talks. I don't care how good he looks. I don't care how many promises he's made. If he is not letting you touch the things he treasures,
Yeah.
you
You are
are on
nowhere
your
near.
own.
Thank you.
So
Exactly.
I want to sort of just to re-emphasize Chris's point by re-echoing our probably some of our most famous guests. The first one is Ransom. And Ransom is the guy who began the show, Ransom Mahaka from out of Zimbabwe. And he always used to say that,
Say it with a Zimbabwean accent.
I can't say it, I don't know Zimbabwean accent. But he used to say, men are looking for a recreational playmate. In the stuff, exactly what Chris was saying, the stuff that he cares about. If he includes you in that story, and you know that you've known this guy for 5 years, and every Saturday he's here watching football. He's somewhere watching football, wherever he is, and he finally brings you into that story. Then you're really into something like that. But then also Winnie Banage, Ebony Eyes, and she's one of our most famous and infamous guests that we've had. she has this really interesting tweet that she every once a year she posts it, and she says that if a man really loves you, he will go the distance to show you. There's nothing that he will not do to show you that he cares and that he will make the time to be with you.
Yeah.
But then that contradicts what you were saying. And I'll tell you why. Because you say the lady is the one who takes the initiative.
No,
And-
okay, you say what you say.
Yeah.
Nowadays, ladies are taking
No,
initiative
I-
because the
But she will push again.
You remember when I
something
initially
you don't.
started talking, I said, you know, that's what's happening a lot now. Not that that's what it should be, but I really agree with what he's saying, because I had this conversation with a lady earlier, and I was asking her what she thought, and she was telling me, yeah, but of course, you know, one of the biggest lies, and yes, ladies, this one for everybody, one of the biggest lies is men taking girls to their friends. Every guy's friend is going to call you our wife, our person, you know he loves you. That is all a lie.
That's not the
Now
biggest
look,
lie.
look,
The biggest
look
lie
for the
is
things
I will
that,
pull
that he
out.
really...
That's the biggest lie. That's the biggest lie of all.
But you know, look for the things that he really cares
that game
about.
is weak.
The things that he, the people that he cares about. It might be a brother that he respects so much, or his uncle that raised him, or his parent, or his sibling, or somebody that really is close to him that he respects so much. That the second they bring you into that circle, that is not just his friends in the bar screaming out loud. No. Once you enter those circles where you know, we can family, or it doesn't even have to be family. It might be a mentor or something for him. And you know, the second you get into that circle, that we're in this circle of trust, and now I am in his circle of trust. Then maybe he's leaning towards being serious with you.
Let me come from a background of what Chris said, and this is very, very personal.
Tell us.
Like honestly, recently I posted something on my Facebook timeline, and people were so surprised. I think it had like the most comments I've ever had on social media. I finally acknowledged that I was in a relationship with this particular lady, and I've dated this lady for the longest time. For the longest time.
A baby. For the longest time.
For the longest time, but I will not say the years.
You finished
Stefan's and all.
Basically, listen.
I'll tell you what, Stefan.
Listen, let me finish.
Yes, just before you do, we do have to go into a break. And as soon as we get back, you're going to tell us about it. No, we are here.
Why?
Go tell.
Oh,
Talking
Stefan.
about commitment, when will a lady know that a man is ready to commit? And don't forget, when we get back, Stefan is going to tell us how she knew he was ready to commit.
Because he
We'll
put
be
up a
right back
status
after.
update.
Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, we are here at the Pearl of Africa Hotel, and we are talking about men and commitment. When is he ready to commit? Don't forget, this is your show. Go to our Facebook page, like it. Also, the hashtag is NTVMEN. Follow us on Twitter on our individual handles, which are right at the bottom of your screen. So, Stefan.
This status update.
Recognition. This is 21st century. If you ask so many people.
So you don't have to tell her, just update your status.
Listen.
Put her out there.
Someone like me. I work in the media. People know
You're
me.
a celebrity, eh?
I'm not.
In short, yes.
No one really knew. No one really knows that. And this is the 21st century. Most people, most guys, we know this.
We're all guys.
Most people don't put, pictures
Yeah,
of
we are.
their significant others on social media unless maybe
You
you're
were
married.
Boko Haraming on the
No,
slide.
listen. Let's
Then
be
you made
honest.
a
Let's be
mistake.
Is there a picture of her on
Then
your
we
social
got
media?
called
We
out.
are talking about recognition.
When life
Recognition.
happened.
But I would like to ask,
Recognition
is there a
is
picture of her?
bringing her in your inner circle. When most of your closest friends know this person,
She says
when
the
your
friends don't
family
matter.
knows this person, when I actually had to go to the parents, things like that. When this
So
guy
wait,
introduces
were you
to his
envisioning a scenario where you weren't going to go to the parents? So then why you mentioning it like it's some achievement? You're like,
yeah. No, listen.
I was just going to take her.
And the
we are
building,
being
let's
honest. We are being very honest, if this guy has not
He was just
introduced
going to
you,
sneak her past.
if this guy has not introduced you to his parents, if this guy has not introduced you to his inner circle, if this guy is not proud to air you, like on social media, if people do not know about you, basically, then there's nothing
you
you
got
do
your
this fast.
if you have your secret relationship that is serious.
You know, you're just
Going
wasting
on.
your
You're
time.
serious, undercover.
Yeah.
So instead of declaring, just put it on social media and you're good.
No, social media
It's one of the other ways to know that he's ready. If you can admit to you in public.
Because now he's
How
telling
about
all the
How
ladies.
about talk to her?
And so what?
Oh,
listen.
no.
So just put it out there and she'll figure it out.
Peter, do you know when we knew you were serious?
After
After it was on social media.
it was on social media, that's what
Let
we're
me
like,
tell you
no.
what, the fact that I chose not to tell you guys don't mean nothing. No.
You're just not in his inner circle.
Peter's
He
situation was
told
serious.
me.
Peter's situation was serious. It was under threat. That's why he didn't tell anyone.
No, you see, first of all, this show is not about me. I mean, and
These
But you
few
see,
minutes could
There's
be.
no your neck is
Next 12
becoming
minutes.
smaller.
but you see, the thing is, what I'm wondering is, why does it look like the guy has to be? He can't come out and say. He has to be boxed into a corner.
No. He doesn't have to.
Stefan just said he went and updated his status.
Yes, but he didn't tell her.
No, of course they knew they were in a relationship.
Acknowledgement.
The thing is, how she knew it was serious.
Stefan was pressured so much by her.
No.
He was
Well, the show is not about me,
Stefan
by the
is
way.
in so much trouble.
And this topic, no. You should stop talking about it.
No, it's sounding like the president. Leave my family. No, but Peter, I think that generally, when a guy is giving away something he treasures a lot, and I want to run banging at that point, because you see, whereas for Stefan, what he says on social media is important to him. And there are guys who just keep on changing their status. Facebook status in a relationship. Facebook status
Complicated.
out of complicated. You know, so there are guys for whom
It's
that
always
doesn't matter. But for
complicated.
Stefan, because it's important how he
What did I bring this up?
what he
We
says
got
to the people who follow him,
Yeah.
who's his Facebook friends, that was important. Then you find a guy to whom that's not important. You find some guys to whom, if I introduce you to my friends, hey, you're in. And then another guy who the friends are fellow hunters and Boko Haramers.
You don't want you
They
around
just,
them.
yeah, so they come say, oh, our wife and all that. But what they're setting you up, the girl up, so that he can have his easy way in. Like, how was it? It was nice. Okay, so then the next girl will come and say, oh, our wife. So that's what those groups of friends are, and probably not the other. What I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. My point I'm making is it depending from guy to guy, whatever is valuable to him. Because you may think that the guy didn't put me on Facebook, but like Colin is saying, he has started going to watch his football with you. And for him, football is like a religion. What I am saying is know the guy and
the
find
things
out
know
what
your
is-
guy.
yeah, know your
He
guy
reiterates
and find
my
out
point.
what is really important to him. When he lets you in on what's really important to him, you are making the journey to commitment.
So again,
Short of that,
so his words don't mean anything then.
what I am saying, know the guy. Some guys are
There has
perpetual
to-
liars.
There has to be a follow-up.
There has to be action
So-
following
some
the
guys-
words. You
some
cannot
guys-
just say
some
it
guys
all
are
way
perpetual
together.
liars.
So
Okay?
he's
Yeah.
No,
he's
guys.
incapable of
Generally.
saying the
But
truth.
No, let me say that guys will tell you anything. A guy would say anything to dip his hands in the cookie jar, you know.
Oh,
So as
Stefan.
yeah, it's the
in
truth,
the cookie jar.
you know.
That's where your hand was.
Listen, I don't know why I brought this up, but honestly, you know, you're saying that some guys will tell you anything. They'll build castles for you. They'll tell you that I will commit. If this guy does not show it by action, if this guy does not, meet your parents, for example, it's easier for a guy to introduce the chick to his parents.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't meet your parents, then he's not
Stefan,
serious.
this is what I am saying. I can tell you You see, for all those scenarios,
A guy can meet
I can
20
tell
girls,
you stories
20 girls
of
parents.
a guy who went to meet, of guys who've gone to meet the girl's parents, and to him it does not matter.
Oh, yeah.
And yet to him what really matters is if he introduces this girl to his
To
big
his-
sister.
And that's where the deal is. So for once,
so-
once you meet the big
Yes.
sister,
So
you're
the
in.
thing is this. Here's the point. For every guy, there is different things that are of value to them. Because we cannot be on TV and say, "Wow, if he takes you to the parents, so he comes to meet your parents." Well, all those,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
guys
Some
have
of these
just
boys
all
are
those
from
looks
rogue
and there is no
families. Their parents are even more rogue than the boys. I'm telling
part
you,
of it.
their parents are part of the whole clique.
Yeah. So what the point I'm saying is, every girl out there needs to find out what is important to the guy. If you find it out and he's letting you in on that, you are making the journey. Please note, I have been saying this whole time, you are making the journey.
You've not arrived.
Commitment. You have
You're
not
not
arrived.
arrived.
Of course.
That's a
Not
good one.
arrived. This is when you
good
know
one.
that he's real committed.
Yeah.
The day he actually does it. Because everything else is a journey to commitment. Let me tell you, the day I married, I mean, I had said I was going to marry her. I had proposed to her a year before. I gave her an engagement ring. I talked to my mom and all that, was very important to me. My brother was my best man. He flew in from UK. I was dead serious. I
His
talked to my
relatives,
pastor.
And you had never
You
gone back
said
on a single
countries,
promise you had
relatives,
made.
man.
Let me hear what
I
I'm
had
feeling.
done all that stuff. Then the wedding day came. And she's walking down the aisle and I'm like, I am seriously going to marry this girl. No, seriously. So it's
I hope
like,
she's not watching.
no, seriously, I'm saying.
better be watching.
And no, she is watching.
These are so nonsense.
And now let me tell you what, for me, one of the things actually,
I just call the internet.
I wept like a baby in church that day.
Oh.
I know it sounds bad.
That is
You're one of those guys.
Yeah, I am. But let me tell you
I
what
want to see
happened.
that clip.
So for me,
This is why men
For me,
cannot
That
commit.
is so sweet.
no, but seriously,
That's why on that topic about men crying, you're very
I'm like, I'm
What's
okay
wrong
with
with you,
it.
Stefan?
So here's my point.
Men are not supposed to cry.
The thing is this.
Really,
She's walking down the aisle, and I'm like, I'm seriously taking this man's daughter. I mean, my father-in-law he's an engineer. He was an engineer. He died, passed away 8 years ago. He was a responsible man, raised his kids without any problems. They never lacked food, water, what? You know what I mean? And this man's daughter is eagerly walking down the aisle to
marry
come and
you.
get married to me.
That should tell you something. Maybe she was just tired of.
She wasn't tired of anything. She was coming from a good background and good
life,
family. So for me, I think what
Wanted
was
to
overwhelming
experiment a little.
is oh my God, this girl is risking her whole life, staking her whole life on this guy here. It was an overwhelming thought. But let me do there. That's where the rubber met the road. And then the reverend
Really
is
said
asking me,
rubber.
will you? And then I say I do, and I put a ring on it for real. So people are screaming and ululating, and I'm like, oh my God,
We did it.
I have just done the thing.
We have
Just got
did it.
real.
We just did it.
Just did it.
So for me, I think until a guy actually does the thing, you do not have any guarantees whatsoever.
And you're saying
That
that,
is
you know,
committed.
the value systems, you know, range with different people.
Yeah.
You it was a wedding.
No, that's my point. So what I'm saying is, whether it's going to be this traditional way marriage and it's how they lock it down, or at the attorney generals or a church, right?
It doesn't matter.
What I am saying is marriage, okay? Marriage, as recognized by the Constitution of Uganda. The point is this. I have been to, I can't tell you who, but some famous guy.
You know a lot of
The one-
famous outside countries. You know,
Yeah, I'm not going to say who.
You're such a name drop.
name countries.
What I'm
Drop
saying.
him to like seven names.
No. I'm not going to say. But we went with this guy there were just actually 4 of us. Him, the chick, and 2 other people. And we went to the Attorney General's thing. Man, it was just a holy moment right there, because when the guys ask you the question, is this the woman you're going to marry? And you see in church, you sign 2 things. There's the church book, and then there's the official government thing, which they take for registration. Here you're signing the registration thing direct.
Yeah.
There. And the guy says, I need you to be clear that according to the law of Uganda, you are in sound understanding. And sir, are you in sound understanding? Madam, are you in sound understanding? Yes, 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 yes. Sign here. My friend, when the guy signed, you know, a guy was comfortable, the pen is shaking. That is the point where there is commitment.
Right, guys. Now, unfortunately, you know, they say time flies when you're having fun. We've reached that point when we do have to wrap up the show. So I'm going to start with you, Stefan,
coward, Peter.
and ask for
Always
your...
ending the show when things are nice.
When things are finally.
No,
It's your party shot. And also, I want just you to think about something. Is commitment physical or is it in the heart?
Commitment, you know, you might have the intentions of committing to someone, but you know, you don't have the means. Let's be honest, you know, you might want to tie someone's daughter down, but you cannot take care of this woman. So to me it all boils down to action. And like we said earlier on, if this guy does not bring you to his inner circle, and you know, like Chris said, the value systems here are very different. To me, it was acknowledging it. Like, people had to know that this is my woman. And the moment I did it, it chased away everyone.
We do that many.
That's why you said everyone.
Are you saying that in regret?
I'm actually saying it on TV, you know. A man has to, you need to know, to feel it by action, by emotions, that this guy really wants me. He needs to acknowledge you, physically and emotionally.
Great stuff. Esther, your parting shot.
Yeah, first off,
Is commitment in the heart or is it physical?
First, I'll start by disagreeing with Stefan. You cannot claim that your financial standing will stop you from committing to your partner, because I feel like by the time you actually want to commit to this person, there should be some semblance of understanding. She should be able to know that, okay, this is your financial position, but we can figure something out. It doesn't have to be the grandest wedding in the world. You just talked about a civil ceremony. There's options. If you really want to commit, you will commit. Like you said, if someone really wants to be with you, they will go the extra mile. They will do it all just to be with you. So yeah, that is my final thought. If someone wants to be with you, they will.
Great stuff. Your shot.
So, you know, I feel like sometimes when we come to this show, we take a unidimensional view to these things. It's important to know that men will commit to you, but it's also important to know that sometimes they will not commit to you. My parting thought on this is sort of drive him to the point where he takes an action. Either commit or not. Because if he commits, then you're in it for the long haul. If he doesn't commit, then you're left in the lurch. But at least you know. You know, and you can do something about it. Because the worst thing, Peter, is not knowing.
Okay, very profound thoughts. Chris, I know.
Yeah, Colin can be like that. Back in the day, for a man, it was important that he stays in his father's house, because that was where security was and provision was. And in the house where his mother was, because that's where nurture was and the womanly touch in his life. That was back in the day when the scripture was written. Man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. These days, a guy has got to leave so many things behind. For Stefan, it is the Facebook friend to say
All of them.
To say, hey, I now have a chick. For other guys, it might be leaving the bar. For other guys, it might be different things. But the point is this: a man has got to leave whatever father and mother represent, whatever is of value to him, and exchange that for you. If he has not done it, look, not insinuated he's going to do it, not promised he's just about to do it, not saying he's going to do it next year. When he has done it, and the commitment actually happens, that's when you know he's committed. Because I'll tell you, ladies especially, If he's promising, there is no way it's happening. When it happens, you know it has happened. That's the only way.
Wow, okay, so you've heard it from us here
And
tonight.
from the biggest non-committer of all of us, Peter Igaga is going to close the show. Please.
I hope that's going to be edited. Now, we've had a great night. I just need you to take good care of yourselves, and God bless. That's it from us here at the Pearl of Africa Hotel.
Everybody.